We're going to cover the basic ideas of geometry and how you find area and perimeter of different shapes. I will say that in normal geometry, really there's only 3 shapes that we ever can use right now. Anything more complicated than this would require more math than we can handle at this point, but it can be done. But for us, we need to know about circles, right? And there's 2 formulas for circles. I know it's a pretty badly drawn circle there. The first is that area is pi r squared. So pi is that special number. It's around 3.14. You do pi times the radius r squared. Also, if you want to find the distance around that, we call it circumference. That is 2 pi times r. Those are the 2 formulas you need for circles. The next shape that we will see is the shape of a rectangle. Rectangles have length and width here. The area formula for a rectangle is length times width. And the perimeter formula for a rectangle, and you don't really have to memorize the perimeter formula because perimeter just means if you go all the way around, how long is it? And you could literally just add up the numbers around there. But if you want a formula, it's 2L plus 2W. And the third and final shape that we will see is a triangle here. We will also only ever see what are called right triangles that have a 90-degree angle. That's because the formulas for them are much easier to handle than if it wasn't a right triangle. And again, you can handle other ones using things from trigonometry. That's not what we're doing right now. And so in a right triangle here, we call one of these sides the base, one side the height. And the formula for area then is just going to be 1/2 base times height. Perimeter, well, you add up the 3 sides. That's all you have to do for perimeter. I mean, if I call this, say, x, I guess you could write it out as b plus h plus x. But again, we don't really like dealing with formulas on this one. We just add up the 3 sides. Okay, so when you have a more complicated shape like we have here, you're just going to go ahead and see how we can break it down to easier shapes so that they're easier to handle. And in this case, we can break it up the shape into half of a circle and then the rectangle here. So if I go ahead and want to find the area of this shape, well, I could go ahead and find the area of the rectangle here. Length times width is 10 times 12. That's going to be 120 square feet. Then if I want to find the area of the circle, well, be careful, it's only half a circle here, not a whole circle. So you would do your normal pi r squared, but then you divide your answer by 2 because it's only half of a circle. Also, you have to be a little bit careful here because they do not tell us what the radius is. The radius is the distance from the middle out to the edge. They do not label that as anything here. But if you notice that this is half of the side of the rectangle, and since the rectangle side here is 10, that part's going to be 5. So it's going to be pi times 5 squared over 2. We go ahead and put that in our calculator. Notice that your calculator does have a button for pi. So you don't have to type in 3.14, you can just hit the pi button. And we're going to get 39.27 square feet. And so that means that the total area that we're looking for, you add them up here, and we're going to get 159.27 square feet. Next thing is I want the perimeter. So again, the perimeter is the area around. And again, instead of trying to use too many formulas for this, we're just going to kind of look at it. First, I go, say, 12 feet here, then another 10, then another 12, and the last part, this last side here is based on this circle, And the normal formula is 2 pi r. However, because it's only half a circle, you divide that by 2. And so if I want to find my perimeter here, it's going to be 12 plus 10 plus 12 plus 2 pi times the r is 5 in this case, over 2. And we're going to go ahead and put that whole thing into our calculator here. And we get an overall perimeter of 49.7 feet. So whenever you're given a shape, if it's one of the 3 standard shapes, you just do that. And if it's not one of the 3 standard shapes, you ask yourself, how could I break it up into those shapes? And then you use our standard formulas to get the answer.